everybody, it's your main man. Damn, I'm at you again, Anthony Brogdon. Ooh, I got a lady on the channel today. Oh my God, let me tell you something. I found her on Facebook and she talking deep. Hey, she talking money. Give us some money. All that you did. It's got a game plan too. And hey, it sounded pretty interesting to me. I like perspectives. That's what I try to do. I come up with the people who got perspectives, and then I let them come on here and let them do the talking. You know, I ask a couple questions, maybe they're good questions, and so on and so forth. And then we roll with it. With what you have gotten is a drink that intoxicates your mind, not DUI staggering, but and I give it to you straight, no taste, sir. Oh my God. And like, check it out. This lady, she gonna give you one of them big glasses because it's her thoughts. With a little lemon, lime, orange, all them fruits and everything you want in there, we gonna shake it up. Ice cube, you want an ice cube. But hey, this is what I do. I guess I said my name, Anthony Brogdon. I'm gonna say it again because I'm excited today, my friends. And so hit the subscribe button on Strong Inspirations, hit the like button on this video, you're gonna like it a lot. Do this, hit the notifications bell. That's that little bell, and what that does is when I put a new video up, and that might be 3, 4 a week, I stagger them though, then you get a ding, there's some more to watch. And so that helps you know that it's there. And then you jump on it and you watch it as you wish, a little bit at a time, or just go ahead and get the whole thing in. And then share this with somebody. Tell somebody about Strong Inspirations. Don't keep it to yourself, my friends. Let this thing flow. The train has left the station. The ship has left the dock. The car has left the garage, so on and so forth. I think she's signaling time. I don't know, because here I go. Check it out. Check it out. Did you watch the video I did with the lady who her great-great-uncle was killed in the Elaine massacre? Ooh, how about this? I'm international. Do you see the video, or have you seen the video I did with the sister out of London, England? She is now head of the Genealogy Society of the UK. She said now she's in position, she gonna market her services to Black people. Find out where your family come from over in the UK, and people in America, you can hit her up on her site and find out if you got European connection. She on the channel. You see the one, I not just one, it's about 4 or 5 of them. I'm deep into that Gullah Geechee corridor community. I'm deep with them. I got the basket weaver on the channel. I got the lady who sings on the channel. I got the guy who, he not just, I got 2 of them. They both talk Gullah Geechee, but then they connected to Africa, where their ancestors came from. One guy from Sierra Leone and the other guy, he do out of Tanzania. And when I did the Tanzania brother, his contact in Tanzania came on the video with him. I said, man, I'm jamming here. Come on now, let's rock and roll, my friends. So watch all them videos, and like I say, tell somebody about us here, Strong Inspirations. Come on, y'all been watching this, because I know, because Amazon tells me more people are watching this, and this is my documentary, businessintheblack.net. It's 3 years of my life in this. This is the DVD, but it's streaming on Amazon. Slaves who went to college and Black millionaires in the 1800s. Names you don't know. You don't know them because I didn't know them. You don't know all of them, and I know you don't know all of them that's in my book. Matter of fact, I'm so confident you read my book and you don't learn nothing new, I give you your money back. Boom, shaka, laka, money back guarantee. You buy this book, check it out. and you read and say, and you just send me an email, man, I knew all that. I'll send your money, no questions asked. Only thing I ask you to do is give it to somebody who don't know as much as you. And for every 10th book I sell, I donate one to a school. My goal is 10,000 books sold, which is huge. And it can happen. Buy 10 books, I donate them to the school of your choice, in your name, in your honor. Well, however you want me to do this, let them kids hear this stuff. Slaves who went to college and black millionaires in the 1800s, how all the ways, not just one way, all the ways slaves gained their freedom. And I think it's about 7, 8 of them listed in my book. Check it out. And then also it talks about what the government tried to do to help us, you know, that Reconstruction period. Now that was pretty tight for a minute. Then it went kaput, you know, how that go. It's all in my book. And so I got a new product coming out. I'll let you know soon. I'm gonna have some samples in the next few days. And you can get all of my information, the book, find out about the movie. There's a trailer on there. This other movie that I'm doing, so on and so forth, on my website, businessintheblack.net. Now you hear me use this word strong a lot. Strong is my favorite word. Strong is the name of this channel. And strong stands for strength, tenacity, resilience, and a sense of oneness, nobility, and grace. And that is my introduction to my guest today. She's a strong soul sister, good looking lady. Oh, she's smiling. Oh, this is her passion. Watch it. So come on now, introduce yourself. Thank you for being on Strong Inspirations.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much for having me on Strong Inspirations. I'm very honored to be here. I really can't express that enough for you, and thank you so much for giving me a platform to express my thoughts that I've been trying to do for so long. You know, without really, you know,
you gotta tell us your name. You gotta know who you are.
I'm Regina Brown. I'm Regina Brown. I'm a founder of Reparations PAC, Reparations Political Action Committee. We have a petition based on Juneteenth reparations, the 2 plus years of unconstitutional slavery that was inflicted upon us and the Texas descendants of slaves in Texas and their families. So we believe that it's immediately due. You know, it's a open and shut case, unconstitutional. You know, it's a holiday now. So, you know, as time has progressed, things have progressed also, and technology is to the point where it almost is our reparations.
Right.
If we can harness it.
We're gonna go into this deep, but I got to start out with a few questions about yourself, if you don't mind. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Edison, New Jersey, JFK Hospital. Born in Plainfield, New Jersey. I moved to Somerset, where I live now, in Franklin Township, New Jersey. I'm a proud Howard Bison, proud Franklin warrior, mother of 3.
Yeah, I like that HU. I like the HU.
Okay, of course. You know.
Did you grow up in a Black neighborhood?
Well, it's interesting because Plainfield, where I was originally from, was a mostly minority community. So Black, you know, Hispanic, you know, minorities. You know, we had some Vietnamese little friends, different, you know, mostly Black and Hispanic, majority Black. And then we moved to Somerset, which when I moved here, you know, I was in the 5th grade, probably mid-80s or so. And it was about half and half Black and white, which you don't really see because of the white flight, you know. So it was a different type of place to grow up in. And, you know, it gave me, you know, as a biracial Black and white person, you know, a different perspective than most people would probably have.
Oh, really? Okay, so let me ask you this. You said something, I got to go down that road just a tad. With that in mind, do you embrace that? I guess you do. I mean, it's your parents, so you got to embrace that.
I mean, I embrace it because, it's taken time. I guess earlier in my life, I just, subscribed to the status quo, one drop, I don't look white, so I'm black. So,
Oh,
but
really?
as I've gone on and done research on my Gullah Geechee ancestors from
Oh,
South
really?
Carolina, my grandfather, John Henry Brown, was from Beaufort, actually Rose Island, South Carolina. He was birth certificate registered in Beaufort. And our family lore is that his father was Irish by the name of McQueen. We don't know how. Supposedly, the doctor in the area, impregnated my great grandmother, Catherine Kennedy, and
Okay, okay.
that's
Let me make sure I
so
got
I
this.
have white on both sides. White
Yeah.
is on my black side too.
Oh, really? Okay. Let me ask you this then. And okay, so what happened? The great grandmother is black, and she's slave, and then the white guy get with her.
I think they were like one generation or so out of slavery, and somehow,
Okay.
the that's the family history that somehow she got pregnant, and then she came up to Jersey when my grandfather was like 2 years old and married a man by the name of Brown. So that's how we became Browns, but we're Black
Okay.
Kennedys. We're Black
Oh,
Kennedys from South Carolina.
oh, and you suspect that's where the plantation is in your family?
Between that and Baskerville, Virginia, the other Black side of my family is last name of Baskerville, and I've been to Baskerville, Virginia, where Dr. John Boyd is headquartered with the Black Farmers Association, right in Baskerville. So I've been down there, and the town is named after our family. That's our name. So
Yeah.
we have land from the family in Boydton, which is close nearby. So, I got to do research. But the thing is, when you have the boot on your neck, the foot on your neck to try and feed a family in this hyperinflation economy, I mean, the economy's going from bad to worse.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's hard to do research and find time when you're just trying to,
Yeah, trying to survive. Yeah, no,
trying
I
to survive.
understand that.
Right. I think
Yeah.
most people are stuck in survival mode, and
Yeah.
we looking for another Martin and Malcolm, and we don't have to because they're still there as our shining examples. No need to look for another Martin and Malcolm.
Okay. Okay. I'm coming back to that point. Let me stay on you just a tad more. So when you grew up, went to an integrated school, and did you learn Black history as a kid? When did this come about for you?
Well, Black history in the educational system when I was coming up, we learned a lot about slavery. I can remember, in social studies classes, really getting excited, to learn about heroes such as Harriet Tubman and, the famous Frederick Douglass and Martin and Malcolm and everything like that. But what was missing was the ancient civilizations of Africa that were,
Okay, I love it.
royalty.
Yes.
We were depicted as nothing but slaves.
Yes.
And, that's where, we got cut off from our great power source is our ancestors,
Yes.
and, I think.
So you read something. What I'm getting at in these questions is, I'm going to ask this question in a minute, but I'm preluding to that. You trying to do something big on your own. And so I guess what I'm asking, who are you to try this? you follow me? And I like what you're doing. So my next question, that's what I'm getting to. I ain't gonna lie to you. So my next question is, did something just trigger something in you, Black history, for you to want to commit to for this effort?
Well, okay, so yes, when I graduated from Howard, I moved to Detroit to work as an accountant for General Motors. And so I went to a great church out there. And who am I? I'm God's child. That's who I am to try and do this, because it's a biblical movement. It's only, you know, God who can do this. And, you know, I just feel like, you know, maybe something in me genetically doesn't let me shut up. You know, my white privilege, you know, is for Black people, for the privilege of justice. So I was doing research out in Michigan, and a friend of mine sent me the information about reparations given by General Oliver Otis Howard, the founder of Howard University. And I was like dumbfounded, because I'm like, hey, here I am. I'm a graduate of Howard University, an honors cum laude graduate. They paid me to go to school there. I you know, I was on scholarship academic for my 4 years, but I didn't know that the founder of our university gave the land reparations in South Carolina, in the Sea Islands. And I felt like a total dummy. Like, how could we graduate from, you know, this illustrious institution, you know, the one of the highest top Black Ivies, and not know our founder was a reparations supporter?
Sure.
So
We mentioned him in the book and in the movie too, because of Howard, and him being one of those big administrators of the Reconstruction period. That's the connection. And
yes,
who
we have Freedmen's Hospital,
yes.
you know, Freedmen Bureau. That was Howard. You know, that was basically Howard. It's on the campus today. So you know, we can't, as Howard, we can't get away from the reparations in our institution, in our makeup.
Okay, I'm gonna get to this reparations real fast, because I want to spend a lot of time on that, because I got different thoughts. One of the thoughts is Black people did all that slavery stuff unwillingly, and then we did all we could to escape it. But a lot of people say there could not have been an America without slavery.
Oh, no.
What's your thought on that?
Well, you know, in light of the Queen of England's recent passing, you know, in my book, Dear Langston, It Explodes, I talk about how, you know, not only Black slave labor fueled America's growth throughout the Caribbean and, you know, South America, in the Americas, but also Britain. Like, all the cotton that we was raising was going to British textile mills, and the insurance companies were insuring the lives of slaves, you know, as assets in banks. Lehman Brothers, you know, started as, you know, slaver insurers. And
really?
Yeah, they're gone now. And
okay,
you know,
let me stay on that, because we're gonna stay. I want you to chime in some other names if you know others, because I know Brooks Brothers did something with suits. This one guy says on the show that has some suits for Black people or something like that. Are there other companies that you know of that have operated, we might know their names or don't know their names, who benefit from slavery?
You know, definitely I have done research on this topic. Off the top of my head, I remember Lehman, because they were so famous with the recent economic downturn of going out of business. I remember maybe Aetna. I want to say I had a T-shirt with an Aetna policy on insuring slaves. You know, so yeah, I mean, but you know, that's the thing why I say technology is really reparations, because it's just at our fingertips. All we have to do is, you know, look it up. But off the top of my head, I know, you know, a couple.
Yeah, I got one for you, and we're gonna go into some form of reparations. You know, they have, and I got them on the show, a lot of these historical sites where they got, you know, they own plantations and stuff. and then they charge people to go in. Don't you think that that could be something that they could give some set of descendants of their plantation some of those fees, those proceeds?
Some of it, why not all of it? You know, what I did in my book when I was young and fresh out of Howard was like the present value calculation of the money that was stolen. Since it was never given, it's like money in the bank. It's compounded interest, you know, throughout the year. So that makes it, you know, much more valuable in present day dollars, even though, you know, the dollar, you know, goes up and down. But, you know, I don't think it's time to think small, you know, because it's just gotten to a point where things are so out of, you know, control, and so many other groups, you know, are advancing and stepping in the line in front of Black American descendants of slaves, you know, for their justice, for their rights, for their economic upward mobility. And we've just been given a misdeal,
Okay.
and it's time to
Okay.
throw our hand in.
What does reparations mean?
Reparations is basically repairing, making whole, you know, based on the genocide that was chattel slavery.
And so when we say making that whole, we're saying, are you saying only in money value, in dollars and cents? Here's a check for all the years. You know, how does this come about?
I don't think we should be limited to money. Of course, you know, a free education should be afforded to all descendants of American slaves. I work right now at a nonprofit, is my full-time job. I work as a homeless advocate, and Black people have been so disenfranchised through redlining and the small benefits such as Section 8, which don't allow family members to even help other family members who are homeless. Because of these stringent guidelines on, you know, the rental assistance. So, you know, things that have been done to try and put a Band-Aid on the problem really continue the cycle of poverty and degradation, mental health issues that haven't been addressed with our community. And of course now, you know, we're discussing also the crack epidemic that was criminalized for Black people, which now the opiate epidemic is, you know, a public health crisis that, you know, helps people, they're, you know, helping people as a mental health care crisis of addiction, but that wasn't done for us.
Let me expand your thought, and this might be a good question for you too. What do you think they have done to us? What are the things they've done? And I'll give you an example. One of the things they've done is slavery. Another one you just mentioned, a thing that they've done is redlining. What are some of the other things that they've done that you talk about or put your finger on?
Well, my grandmother, Laura Virginia Brown, formerly Baskerville, had a book called Medical Apartheid, I believe. And I could only read about 8 pages of the book before, you know, getting nauseated and, you know, sickened beyond belief about how the father of American gynecology, you know, did experiments on slave women with no anesthesia, of course, you know, and made implements. And you can only imagine the horrors that went on, you know, with this person. On Black bodies, Black women's bodies. I mean, there's the rape. Everybody's mixed in some way, mostly because of the rape. Let me get my thoughts together.
I know redlining could be one, and I mean a lot of the policies. Let me ask you this: do you think? Go ahead.
Well, let me go back.
Yeah.
Okay, so after slavery and reconstructions, you had the Black codes. So that allowed people to be in jail camps, you know, chain gangs, that type of thing was basically slavery. You know, people, vagrancy, if you didn't have $5 in your pocket, which a lot of people didn't have that after, you know, being slaves, and the family of slaves might not have had $5. Well, they would pick you up and put you on a chain gang, which is legal slavery, is in prison. And this is not so long ago. This is people who are still alive. This is some places up to the 60s, people were saying they were enslaved. There's a book called The Same Kind of Different as Me, about an impoverished man who became homeless from down south. And, you know, he was basically living on the same plantation as his ancestors. This is a modern day person. So, you know, when we talk about slavery ending, mass incarceration is a loophole to slavery. Prisoners are able to be used as slave labor. There's no argument about that. It's Michelle, I forget the new Jim Crow. They're banning the book in the prisons because it's just so, you know, much of an expose of the whole prison industrial complex as genocide. And then you want to talk about the police lynchings. These are modern day lynchings. We want to go back to the lynching era after, you know, slavery ended, but it's not over. I feel that people are traumatized almost daily with the police brutality and murders, you know, that are happening. And this is, you know, the way that they used to, you know, sad to say, but, you know, put the runaway slaves or the uppity slaves heads on the fence posts, you know, as a deterrent for other people to, you know, rise up. You know, if everybody's getting brutalized in the street for no reason, imagine if you stand up and you know, say what you're feeling about this country. It you know, it's the fear. It's the fear, I would think, was the main insidious, you know, lingering effects of slavery that, you know, keeps people from even speaking. But, you know, like I said, with the technology, you know, people won't shut up on the internet. So
let me ask you
anything can go viral.
Let me ask you, why do you think they do that to us? The things that you talk about. What have you any rationale or something?
I don't think we should
Is it
try
human
to
nature?
understand evil. I mean, there's just, you know, evil, greed. You know, we're supposed to be lazy, but who kidnapped human beings and forced them into servitude for 400 years so they didn't have to pick their cotton and nurse their babies and, you know, take care of their homes, cook their food? Who's lazy than that?
Let's look at it if we can, and I don't know if I can, hypothetically, from their side of point of view. First of all, we need these services done, and they still do this even to today. I know I was up north here in Michigan, and they had under the let's say disguise of internship, had Black people from Jamaica come up and work at the hotel, and they might have paid them something, gave them some credits for school or hospitality class, or whatever. Could they have paid us back then for our services?
Should they have?
Not should they, but could they have, and should they have? What could have been another way that this could have gone? Let me ask that question. Back in days, without slavery, what could have happened?
I don't think things could have gone any different when you had that first slave ship come over. I think they say it was the Portuguese who started it.
Yeah.
But, you know, once it was set into motion and people started making money, you know, on this get rich quick scheme. It's prisoners that populated America, European English prisoners and poor people, to come to America and get land. And they did that and, became
Okay.
the slave owners,
Yeah, right.
because that's how they could build their fortunes
Yeah.
here. And I think once that was set into motion, I don't think things could have gone another way. And I don't know that they still can, but I do believe that now we have a choice whether we stay here or not. When you're talking about all the countries in Africa and Jamaica and places that are hospitable to Black people, we can vote with our feet and get out of here.
Oh, okay.
I do believe in a neo-Garvey philosophy.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, that's good stuff. I like that. What what would, like I say, now I'm on this imaginary road right now, and let's say that they said, okay, if you want to go to America, we'll pay you a decent wage to work the fields, and so on and so forth. Again? Can we imagine that could have been the way it should have gone?
What I think maybe it's our outlook on Africa as making it seem like we would want to leave, but why would we have wanted to leave? Everything that we know, our language, our culture, our the riches of Africa, all the gold, all the diamonds, all the mineral riches,
Okay.
Fertile Crescent where life began. Why would we want to leave there? And if they would have wanted to pay us, the working conditions. Who would have wanted to sign up for sun up, sun down, hardly no time off, toiling in the fields? What's harder than manual labor in the hot sun of the South?
Yeah.
They say the cotton bolls would rip your hands apart.
Yeah.
I've seen on Dr. Boyd's farm, the tobacco plant. It's like a tree. You picking that?
Yeah.
This is hard, arduous, demanding physical labor, and it was even worse in places like Brazil. The life expectancy was something like 25 years old. People, they had to grow their own food. They didn't even give them food down there. So
Yeah.
it's relative. It's
Yeah.
relative.
I like what you said. What about if it could have been but then all that we did, the building of the buildings, if they could have paid us equal wage, even the picking of the cotton, because some of them might have thought of that as a job. And if they could have made it fair, it could have been a job. There still is an upper class and a lower class. I think the other thing that has happened is that when Black people do try to up and strive and open up businesses and things that over the years, they have this way of keeping us out of being able to treat us fairly and deal with us in fair terms. And so it was a real systematic wide array of things. And we don't feel that way. We say that even to this day. We want, to buy from you all. We just want you to buy from us.
Well, yeah, the whole Black Wall Street fiasco, and like you were saying, in other places that we don't even know about, the businesses, the thriving business communities have been, crushed. Even integration, people can argue, harmed the Black community. When the dollar used to circulate, when it was during segregation throughout the Black community over and over again, so many multiples of time. And now as soon as we get the dollar, it's out of our community. So
but we can't blame them for that.
We can't blame them for integration?
Yes.
Because
we wanted to go over there.
We can blame them for making it necessary in the first place. I mean, the reason you have schools like Howard and the HBCUs was because we couldn't go to the other colleges,
Right.
and now you look down on segregation era, but in that era, there was still families intact. There was like still businesses, that were
Yeah.
able to
Sure. Sure.
thrive, and
Sure.
you know maybe the intentions of integration were good, but the actual effects on the Black community, I don't think were could be argued that were good.
I just must admit, I don't know if I can blame them for that, because I didn't want. I mean, we don't, even to this day, we can move where we want to move,
Mhm.
and we still move out to the, let's say, for example, the better neighborhoods, the suburbs, things of that sort, because we can afford it.
Mm.
And they wanted to do that then. What they didn't have, it was equal footing as business owners, so that I can have access to capital, things of that sort, so that I
Mhm.
can grow my business and compete against the bigger companies.
Mhm.
That I understand was another part of their plan, let's say, so that it wouldn't allow us to have all the access that we wanted. Let me ask you this: when you say
I mean,
reparations, go ahead.
let me go back to the blaming. It's not so much a blame, it's more of like a recognition that, you know, our condition has been so much of the after effects of slavery, with our mental health, with our physical health, with our economics, with our family relationships, all aspects, with our health, our diet, eating, unhealthy foods from back in the day, that we were inculcated within our culture. It's so much to it. It's not a blame, it's just a
Yeah.
recognition that, you know,
Okay.
can reparations even um, address that? Like, even
Yeah.
if we were to get money, or,
Yeah.
are we in the condition where we can, you know, build ourselves
Yeah.
up to the point where we can be thrive, which
Yeah.
is what we deserve to do. We deserve to thrive.
You I had somebody, and I'm really asking, I know long questions, I'm sorry. I had
That's
somebody say to me, if we got some reparations, there's gonna be a bunch of brothers and sisters gonna do is go out there and eat bigger steaks, buy bigger cars, and they're not going to do what could effectively help strengthen the community as a whole, especially on a long-term basis. What's your take on that?
I believe people have the right to do whatever the heck they want to do with reparations. That's not for us to decide. I think we would definitely want to plan, for uplift of the community with any funds or education or housing or any of the means to compensate, people for, you know genocide, for Holocaust.
Okay.
I don't think that argument. So what? So what if somebody would waste it? It's theirs to waste. It's theirs to waste.
When we talk about
Cut the
reparations,
check. Give them to them. Give them a chance. See what they'll
is
do.
is is reparations just money, or is it other policies?
It's not just money. It can't be just money. It started out 40 acres and a mule. That's a livelihood. A farm is a business. A farm is, the Black farmers are almost non-existent. They won a $2 billion settlement with the USDA, and it went mostly to white people and Hispanics. So, I don't know. I'm dumbfounded
Gotcha.
by that. And
Okay. Okay.
I think that was a strong step towards reparations when you have a group that, won billions of dollars, to help Black farmers, that is Black
Okay.
business,
Yeah.
and
Sure.
it doesn't go to Black people. Then what does that say about if reparations, were to be granted? You know,
Okay. Well.
who's gonna make sure that we is distributed to us?
Okay. I got one question lead into the other question. One of the things that I think you're focusing on Texas. Is that what you said earlier?
Well, I think the lawsuits need to start immediately. The Juneteenth is an open and shut case. It just needs, legal backing. I think some of the people that got the money from the Holocaust, Jews got reparations. They called themselves slaves during the Holocaust, got money from Daimler-Benz, got money from, companies that use their labor and still getting money, and got the country of Israel, basically as reparations.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. That's a good one. So what do you want to happen?
What do I want to happen? I want
Yeah.
lawsuits. I want lots of lawsuits. I feel like every descendant of American slave have a lawsuit waiting to happen, in their person, their family. Of course, I want to work on petitioning the Department of Labor for immediately working on Juneteenth reparations, because that's unconstitutional slavery. That's not, something that can be questioned. There's a holiday. Everybody knows there was 2 extra years of slavery. It was unconstitutional. So that's a matter of constitutional law. It shouldn't be argued about. So that could be like the first, I picture that as being the first lawsuit that's actually winnable. How that is carried out, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just, putting my faith in God, with my life,
Okay, what are you doing though? Let me ask you this. Are you asking for lawyers to file this lawsuit in Texas for this? And then are you asking for a specific dollar amount? Because when do you win?
When do we win? A Juneteenth reparations would be a win, because it's quantifiable. 2 years of present day value labor is quantifiable. We can do DNA evidence, and I think at this point, it's not up to Black people to prove that they are, in the lineage of deserving of Juneteenth reparations in Texas. I think it's something that the government needs to have a department for, give some people some jobs, possibly some people of color. That would be cool.
Yeah.
And let the historians, DNA experts, duke it out.
Okay, so now are we getting there? Because I like where you're coming from. I just want to get to the end game. You want them to do this, go to, they ain't got, well, let's say that the state of Texas says, okay, we ain't got to go to court. Give us who the people are, how much do we pay them, what have you. And then it's done. Is that the catch?
I don't have all the answers for it. I just know that I believe in the rationale for it. I believe that it's legally sound of a policy. I believe there's lawyers out there that can bring this case at ACLU, other people that bring cases for LGBTQ community, everyone else. You got to look at all the historical lawsuits and protests from Native Americans, for their ancestors' homelands and sacred places. People are, fighting for their ancestors' rights and property, and it's time for us to do the same thing.
Okay.
And then, once I find out who's my who enslaved my family, then that's a denied inheritance lawsuit for my family against our particular family who owned us. There's records of people's property that's been, given down to their progeny, their children, have gotten, inheritance from the enslavers that rightfully belongs to the enslaved.
Right. I like that. So what you're doing at this point is you're making this comment to bring it to people's attention.
Yeah, my tool right now that I'm using is my YouTube page, which talks about Callie House and her reparations movement, which was started right after slavery.
Okay, hold on, stop there. Tell us about that one.
Okay, so there's a book called My Face is Black is True, by Mary Frances Berry, also a Howard alumni. And she details the life of Callie House, my inspiration, my hero. She started the Mutual Ex-Slave Bounty Relief Association, where ex-slaves petitioned the government for slave pensions, essentially reparations. She had a membership of 300,000.
Really?
And can you imagine that after slavery, people who, you know, were released into nothing, and they're dues paying members, 300,000 of them in this organization with Miss Callie House. So her movement was crushed by the government, U.S. Postal Service, Postmaster General denied them access to use the mail. So back in the day, no phones, no, internet, no nothing. They couldn't use the mail. She was jailed, but it's just the history of activism, to come up against these things. But one of the keys to that movement was that just by its mere existence, you have people who are going to say as their main argument against reparations, oh, it's not going to go to the people who were actually slaves. So, should it happen? It's not going to go to the slaves, but that's totally ignoring the facts of this organization that was made up of ex-slaves. And there was 300,000 of them. And it was in a time that it was very difficult to get that organization going. And the movement was crushed on purpose.
Did she have any success?
Well, she's like the mother of the reparations movement. So people who follow reparations, I mean, she is a success just by her mere existence.
Okay.
As the counter argument against anyone saying that reparations wouldn't go to the people who actually, were slaves,
Okay.
So
I never heard of that. That's a good one. Is there another one of those type of stories that you know of?
I don't think there's anyone close to Miss House. She's my personal hero, but
Really?
everyone who has a piece, like I said, the writer of the new Jim Crow, Michelle Alexander, I believe is her name. I mean, it's just a glaring wake up to anybody who's not woke at this point. They're never going to get woke, I guess. But anyone who thinks that slavery is ended, is just blind, because you have the mass incarceration today, and that is slavery.
If you were to make a speech, what would you title your speech per what you do?
My speech. Well, one thing I jotted down was a slogan that came to mind of reparations or repatriation. And, we can work ourselves, silly to work for reparations in this country, but we've never been considered of even human. And repatriation is choosing another country, patria meaning country, find another country to give your labor to, give your taxes to.
Excuse me one second. There was a town in the last couple of years that did do some reparations. I've heard of some. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I heard of a couple of things. I've been hearing in the Ivy League. Princeton is here in New Jersey, where I am, and I've been down there. to hear a Langston Hughes presentation a while back. What they're doing is trying to compensate the families of the slaves that were property of the university
Yes.
with education, or with some form of reparations. There's a strong movement there right now in the Ivy League schools, specifically Princeton. But the time is now. Things are
Yeah.
percolating,
And I'm sure it's still going on now, but there was a heightened moment of, in the job world, of quotas in terms of hiring Black people. Is that's a reparations in itself, or that's just a good policy? What would you consider that? You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Like affirmative action.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I guess it was possibly, for maybe the past generation, when it was it was enacted after the civil rights movement, after people fought and fought and fought and died and died and died, and they gave, a crumb of, okay, some affirmative action. But that wasn't something with teeth, like people had the choice whether to do that or not. And then if they hire, how long do they have to keep the person employed, or what capacity does that person have to be employed?
I got you.
Was there any upward mobility, or was it just, the janitors and the, low end jobs, entry level that, people were brought in? And I know it's people that got great jobs, and it's
right.
it's African
Got into
Americans
college,
that
so
don't,
forth.
need reparations, and God bless them, God bless them,
Okay.
But I'm as a university graduate with 2 college degrees, Howard and City College of New York, for my master's in education. I'm a former teacher, a former college professor, and I'm the working poor. So yeah. I'm glad for, people who got it, people who live possibly in other areas of the country, that's not so expensive as maybe New Jersey, that are living well. But the vast majority of Black people are not. The vast majority are not living well.
How long have you been talking this topic?
Well, I started writing my book, 20 years ago. I published Dear Langston Explodes in 2010. But, I've been writing, journaling. I was in Plainfield. There was a Gifted and Talented program. I've been kind of the recipient of a great education.
Sure.
And, it wasn't easy. It's not easy to get a great education as a Black person in the United States. And, they say to one whose much is given, much is, expected. So, it's only natural that, being a product of the Black community, that, I would, have been a lifelong learner. And still learning, interested in your book. I'm definitely going to send you mine. Just somebody who believes that it's in God's hands, and for us to have survived to this point is only God. Is only God.
Let me ask you this.
Why wouldn't we trust Him to bring us to that next point?
I love it.
To God, it's nothing. It could be done tomorrow in a way that we would have never, imagined. Or are we praying for it? Are we believing for it? Are we at church talking about it? Or are we talking about the deacons and how we don't get along?
I got where you're coming from.
Things like that. But I really want to get into the churches, because I don't think that the older generation is being serviced by my technology petition. And I believe that it's going to be having to be in-person conversations and speeches, to let them know, hey, they're closer to slavery. They might remember their grandmom was a slave. You know, they remember the stories, you know, better than they remember the civil rights movement. They remember Malcolm and
I
Martin.
love it.
You
I
know,
love it.
you don't have to convince them, you know,
I
if we
love it.
get the knowledge to them. You know, you don't have to convince them to sign. They're not afraid to sign their name, you
I
know,
love it.
as some people in the younger generations are.
Let me, I don't mean no disrespect in here. Let me ask you this. When you come around people, do they say they're gonna miss reparations? Is that your nickname? Do you talk about this
Some
everywhere you
friends,
go?
I have some friends who, you know, as soon as they see me, they reparations, you know, like,
I
you
was
know, they
wondering
know
that.
that that's all I, you know, like to talk about. But, you know, some people
What is
know,
this to
you know,
you?
like,
What is this to you?
what is it to me?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a divine mission. I mean, I was raised very religious, so, you know, it's only it's a mission.
Do
You
you
know,
have reparation posters on the walls in your room and that kind of thing? I mean, you
no.
live and eat and sleep, drink this.
Well, you know what it is? I had to tell a funny story. I got to tell this funny story.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know, I used to live in Scotch Plains, and there's a WBLS is in New York, 107.5.
yeah, yeah.
And I would listen to the guys, Bob Slade, I think, and, you know, some other prominent fellows, you know, that would I would call in, you know, and try and, you know, talk about reparations, and, you know, like the first petition that I had done, you know, which was very broad, too broad. And then I tweaked it a little and made it, you know, about Juneteenth. But I remember, you know, with like a baby on my, you know, arm and on the phone, you know, trying to get into the to the radio to talk about reparations. And Reverend Al Sharpton, I got onto his show one time, and as soon as I started talking about reparations and a petition, he like hung up, you know, he hung up on me and was real mean, talking about, you know, we're not talking about that, you know, we're talking about guns. And, you know, I was talking about
Okay.
Congressman Conyers, another giant of reparation.
Yeah.
Congressman Conyers
Yeah,
is also
sure.
a great hero of the reparations movement. He, you know, HR 40 is the bill that he introduced for 25
That's right.
plus years
That's
to
right.
Congress to try and get the study done, you know, just asking for a study, and they wouldn't even, you know, give us that. So, but you know, I just think it's tell that story. It's a lifelong something that I dedicated my free time to. I've taken time from my family, you know, to work on. I've taken time from my career to work on.
Oh,
You
really?
know, and it's just a, you know, people have their passions, and
I,
reparations is mine.
I
So
love it. I love it. Let's do one more thing before we almost come to close. You got your book right there?
it's called Dear Langston, as in the Langston Hughes poem, um,
Yeah,
from
I did.
A Dream Deferred. What happens to a dream deferred, as in the dream of reparations? You know, if it keeps getting put off, does it sugar over syrupy sweet? Does it, you know, do all this or do all that? But and at the end of the poem, it says, or does it explode? And what I was saying is, like, Langston is one of my favorite writers, and I was saying, hey, the dream explodes, and that's what's happening right now. You know, you have people that just, you know, so fed up like me that, you know, not gonna keep quiet. So it's on Amazon. If you look here, this is the cover.
Yes. Okay.
Not a great picture, but
Yeah.
it's on Amazon, and it's also on Author House. I
Okay.
self-publish it on authorhouse.com, where it's only like $20 or so, $21. It's also ebook, a page in print before,
Okay.
you know, there was a social media. You know,
I
we
love
were
it.
just
I love
on
it.
the cusp.
I
And
love it.
you know, Dear Langston, but it starts out with my reparations essays. And
We're gonna put all that in the description
mhm,
under the video.
yeah.
You did you ever think this would you could be this kind of person? Because you are you an activist? What are you?
I don't know what I am. I'm some type of like maybe America's worst nightmare, like this is why they didn't want black and white people to marry each other, because you're gonna get somebody like me that, feels white privilege but wants to help black people. So
Oh, I love it. And you're effective. You dedicated.
I mean,
You
I
giving
like,
it your all.
I mean, you helping me, and I'm so grateful to
Yes.
you,
You
because
miss
you don't
reparations.
know how many people I just want to blow some people up. I've reached out to everybody. I've reached out celebrities, Farrakhan, everybody. This is
I
the first
love it.
interview I've ever had in 20 years. So
I love
thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much. Everybody, that's what I do with Strong Inspirations. And I hope y'all didn't mind my long questions and stuff like that, because I got thoughts on it, and she answered them. I understand more now after talking with you. I don't know, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. It's a concept, maybe.
It's a concept that time have come.
Yeah,
The time
I
has
love it.
come. It's not time for asking or begging. What we need to do is just say, hey, it's clear, black and white. It's old. You're gonna, do something about it or not, but we can vote with our feet. We could walk away from this madness. And it's a hostile environment to black people in this nation. If it was a workplace, we could sue. So why can't we sue for our lives?
I understand more. Because I remember when I was much younger, this got to be 30 years ago, there was a guy here, I'm in Detroit, there was a guy, he was, and we used to say, there was a guy here, we called him Reparations Ray. He talked about it all the time. I mean, when we always had the business meetings, he would be there, and that was his angle.
Right, Conyers was from Detroit. I tried to reach out to him when I was working at GM, all 20 plus years ago, Detroit is, I never saw black wealth as I saw it in Detroit.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. Well, hey everybody, again, this is what we do with Strong Inspirations. Now man, let me tell y'all, my viewers, I'm going deep on you. I done went deep on you with a lady who she deep. She deep. I know when she walk in there, she be coming in the club or whatever, going wherever she go, they go. And then there are people who want to come and talk to you at this point.
Well,
there are people who want to talk to you because they like you got a perspective in life.
Well, this is true. It's something that I've come to appreciate about myself and really value myself for. I was talking to my white mother the other day, and I was like, you really did a thing, bringing someone into the world that's not black, not white, because inherently in America, we feel made to feel like nothing. You're not black, you're not white, you're nothing, but I'm so proud of myself for, just taking off the mental shackles of feeling like nothing and, finding a niche, to say, hey, maybe we could get some of that if we fight for our ancestors. Fortunes that were stolen.
Yes. Strong Inspirations, straight no chaser. Everybody, to you, my guests, I say this, and I mean this with all sincerity. I want you to stay strong, stay safe, stay on your grind. One question I did not ask you, do you have a website, how do people follow you again?
Okay, so I'm on Twitter, Reparations Pack, Regina Brown at Reparations Pack is Twitter. Reparations Pack is on Facebook. The book is there. I have a YouTube channel, Reparations Pack, Juneteenth reparations. It's kind of hard to come up, so I send out the links, a lot on my Twitter. That's how we got in touch, was through Twitter. I find that like the most meaty medium where you could just copy things and paste them and look up hashtag reparations and then send the petition to the people who's already talking about reparations, how I did for you. So I really like Twitter the best, but you know, I try to be on everything, and the petition is of course on change.org. If you look up Juneteenth reparations on change.org, that's the petition. And
I love it.
You need to get the word out. Like I said, I'm kind of shifting gears to try and, you know, get into the older generations and the churches. And
I love it.
You know, that's historically been, you know, the feed of our souls. And, you know, you talk about Detroit. I got saved at Straight Gate Church in Detroit. And I went to the Winans Church. And I had a phrase that if you're looking for God, he lives in Detroit.
Oh my God, yes he does. I hope he's looking at me. I need him in my days. Hey, thank you so much, everybody. You know what I said you do, just subscribe, like, notify, and tell somebody about Strong Inspiration. And so with that, I say, bye-bye, we out. Thank you.
Peace. Love y'all.
Yeah.